Hello, everyone. I'm super thrilled today. I've got a very inspiring lady with me. She's the one and only Tina Dehal. She's a celebrity fashion photographer. She's also won the award for photography by the Indian Leadership Conclave. So she's doing so much, in terms of photography and inspiring people. And, all her canvases and everything is so artistically designed and, bringing things to life. So welcome, Tina, to the episode. It's truly grateful and humble to have you with me today. I would just want to begin with my first question would be photography. How? What is the early life? What made you get into photography, your passion? Was there an influence behind you, to pursue this trade, or was it your own personal journey? A little bit on that. So over to you.
Firstly, thank you, Siddhant, for having me. I'm really looking forward to this, and I hope I can be of any help. And
Yeah.
so yeah, for me, so I'll give you a basic background. I started using Photoshop the year it came out. I must have been like 16 or something like that. And I was very fascinated with, when I used to look. So I grew up with older sisters. So I grew up looking at magazines and was very fascinated with all the advertising campaigns, the editorials, the covers. And so, like, I knew who my favorite model at the age of 5 was. It was Andy McDowell,
Okay.
and her L'Oreal campaign. And then growing up, I remember seeing the Lancome campaign with Isabella Rossellini. And I was like, she's so beautiful. And, she's always photographed well. And then I remember seeing a video and I was like, wait, hang on a minute. She looks different in the pictures and she looks different in the videos. And that's when I got introduced to Photoshop when I was like really young. And so I self-taught myself Photoshop, I think at 16, 17, which is like the early 90s. And I learned Corel Draw. And I landed up then working as a graphic designer, designing movie posters.
Okay.
So by the time I was, I think, 17 or 18, no, might have been about 17, I'd already done about 3 movies. And I had done the entire movie campaign. And it was interacting with some of the producers and the directors that I started to learn about, photography and, the negatives and, because I was fascinated with why they would take photographers to, fly them to Switzerland to shoot pictures and the photographers would come back with 35 negs
Yeah.
of the hero and the heroine dancing on a snowscape where they were this small.
Right.
And then they would tell me, enlarge it and make it into a close up. And I'd be like, but dude, you are photographer, should have been shooting on 35 slide,
Yeah.
close ups for something. And then I realized that, you know, there was no technical knowledge with everyone in this field, as in
Yeah.
even with the producers, the directors, and everything. And that's when I started educating myself. And I said, okay, wait, I want to be a photographer. Forget the designing the posters. And
Yeah.
to be honest, I started writing screenplays, I think, or stories when I was like about 11 or 12.
Okay.
And when I wrote, I always imagined, everything was a play of light and shadows. It was not just the writing, it was not just the dialogues. I visualized the whole thing. So I realized that for me, I needed a medium where I could bring what was in my head out. You know, so that's why we say I learned to play with light and shadow very early. It was all visually for me. And that's when I decided that I moved from designing the posters and I decided to go study photography abroad. And that's literally where my journey began.
Okay. I want to
Yeah.
know a little bit, how do you approach a photo shoot? Can you share a little bit on the process from the concept to the execution? How does it go with it?
So it all depends on the client, the brief, what are we doing? See, it could be an ad campaign.
Yeah.
It could be just a Instagram PR packet for a celebrity. It could be headshots for somebody new that's starting out, you know. So it all depends from job to job. Like if it was something like what we did for Sternhagen with Suzanne and Larissa, which we shot last year, that took about 5 months to just conceptualize. because we created these elaborate sets outdoor. I was there 3 days before the shoot, looking over the sets and everything like that. And then our crew was literally like, I think close to like 100 people on
Right.
set, you know. So that's one aspect when we do something like that. The second aspect is like, so if you look at my pictures with Lara, with Bobby, not the ad campaigns with Bobby, but we did some personal shoots with Suchi. Those were done in what I call my 2-hour portrait series. So I remember telling them, I'm coming into your house at 8:30. I'll be leaving your house by 2 hours to do your makeup. If you've already started before, within 2 hours of shooting time, I will leave your house. And they were like, what? And in that period, we've done like 5 shots, you
Right.
know. So, but beforehand, I have discussed with them what they're going to wear, what we're going to do. I've done a recce of the location, and I come in with the smallest crew possible.
Right.
We're literally maybe 4 people, you
Okay.
know. Because one, it's a personal space. I don't want to fill up somebody's personal space with too many
Right.
people. And we are literally we do our job, and in 2 hours we're out, you
Okay.
know. So that's when we do like the PR, the Instagram profiles. I call that my 2-hour portrait series. Now, if I'm doing headshots with somebody like, who wants to get into modeling or acting, then that's another process because
Okay.
I meet them. I ask them, what exactly is it that you want to do? What is the end result of your images?
Right.
What is the field you exactly want to go into? And depending upon the person, I also advise them that, yes, you can walk the ramp. No, maybe you can't do ramp. You don't have the height for ramp.
Right.
You can do print campaigns, you can do advertising, you want to do movies. And then the process is where we style them. Some of them need styling beforehand. Maybe they need something with the hair done or, things like that. Then we do a whole process wherein I get involved with the clothes,
Right.
because we have to style each one independently,
Right.
depending upon their body structure, their age. So that is another process which can take a week or two in advance. And then the day they come in to shoot, they know exactly what they're doing. Nobody's coming in like, and then if it's an editorial, then there's the team from the magazine involved. So we do a little brief before that, come on set knowing what we're doing. And most of the background work is then handled by that team because they do the styling, the makeup, everything.
Okay.
Yeah.
Also, I want to know, photography, you're normally connected with a male dominant persona. We hardly see any female photographers, out there, so, what is the stereotype? What are the obstacles early on that you faced, the challenges which you faced and how did you overcome them?
Yeah, so this actually is one of the first questions everyone always asks me, but I like the way that you phrased it.
Right.
So to be honest, when I started, I was just 20. It was like 1990, I think. I was must have been about 22. I mean, I started at 20, but by the time I finished studying and I came back, so I was maybe one of two female photographers in the industry that time. And yes, it wasn't easy, but I let my work speak for itself. So, and I think, my work was out of the box. It was edgy for that time, and I never looked at it like as if, oh, I'm the only female or I'm one of two females. If for me mentally, I never looked at it that way. And I think maybe I am not built like that also, coming from a sports background. We learn to be very confident. We have to have enough confidence in ourselves to win a sport. So any field that we are thrown into, we will come in with a certain amount of confidence. Once you've decided that this is what I'm going to do. Yeah, I did face some issues. I think as far as like advertising was concerned, I met a lot of weird people, that kind of made me feel like, okay, maybe I don't want to do this for some time. And I stuck to editorial for a really long time. And it's just that I think when I got a little bit older and I knew how to handle those situations really well, I moved on to advertising, and I'd already moved on to movie publicity before that. So,
Okay.
yeah. But yeah, it was okay. It was good. It was good for me. I was really lucky to work very early in my career with Anaita and with Ami Patel and all of them. So,
Yeah.
I worked with a great bunch of people. So it was lovely.
Also, Tina, I want to know, if I see Tina probably 5 or 10 years down the line, what are the certain targets or goals you've set for yourself, which you want to still achieve? Besides you've been doing such phenomenal work, I'm sure you have your personal goals and targets, which you want to see yourself probably 10 years down the line.
Oh, I think you can say 20 years down the line also. I
Mhm.
don't think I'm going to ever retire, but I'm not going to be the kind of person who's going to work every day of my life.
Okay.
I've learned very nicely to balance my time on and time off. Like people have said me, hey, you disappeared for a few weeks. I said, yeah, I'm a creative person. I
Right.
need to disappear. I need to recharge. So yeah, I don't think I'm ever going to retire. I'm going to keep working as long as work keeps coming to me. And hopefully by then I should be like, I should establish myself as somebody who's selling art
Right.
rather than waiting for work to come to me,
Mm.
and I think I keep setting myself goals with like new people I'd like to photograph,
Right.
So I would say, okay, I want to photograph this person, or like certain magazine covers, or certain ad campaigns that I want to do. So for my whole life I set goals for myself,
Mm.
and I said the other goals I set for myself is that I love to travel, so I always tell myself I have to do this work, and then I'm going to take myself to this corner of the world.
Right.
So I think one has to always set goals in life, you know. Yeah.
Couldn't agree more, and also, I keep seeing your stories and your profile basically you've shot with such amazing celebrities, but it's not easy, balancing their personality, getting it in the canvas, everyone has their own mood swings. How does, it's not easy to balance it, and you do it so well. So kudos to you, first of all, with all the amazing shots that you do. I saw
Thank you.
recently the Abhi Deol campaign, which you did. I think it was so fantastically shot. So, do you always feel under pressure? Are there a lot of demands from them? Or, how do you balance your artistic side with demands from them as well? It has to strike a perfect balance to get the shot out, including the emotions as well.
So I think I'll be lucky to say that I have shot a lot of them many times over a number of years.
Okay.
So now, I mean, I've been in this career for 30 years now.
Yeah.
And I think, like you said, Abhay is somebody I've shot for over 30 years,
Yeah.
maybe,
Yeah.
So I think we've come to a point where we both understand each other really well.
Right.
I know his personality really well. He knows mine.
Right.
And like in cases like that, right? So we
Right.
know how we're going to work. He's one person till date who really doesn't care what he won't ask me, show me the camera, or I
Okay.
want to see the screen. He'll never say that, he constantly doesn't need a mirror in front of him. He's very comfortable in his space, and he knows
Right.
he fully trusts me.
Right.
Okay, what do you want me to do? You want me to sit here? I'll do this. You want me to do
Right.
this? I'll do this. So with him, it's like that. But again, like you said, there are certain people,
Yeah.
yes. At that point, you have to learn to channel your inner calm.
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
you
Okay.
just have to say, this is my job, and I have to make that person, my job is to make that person look fabulous,
Right.
right?
Right.
So, how do I do that? I have to make that person feel very comfortable. I have to talk to that I start building a rapport with them as we start working. I literally I know. So the people that I know the best and who are my closest in the business are makeup artists and hairstylists,
Okay.
because every shoot, while they're being done, I sit with them. I sit with the talent. I sit with the celebrity while they're being done. That's when I start building a rapport with them.
Okay.
We start talking. You start to get a sense of the person at that point. They at that point, because they have literally walked in without any makeup.
Right.
Their blinders are down at that point, and they're most comfortable. And you'll see most people, their personality changes once the makeup is on.
Right.
You know, they
Right.
become another person. So when you meet them, when they've come in blank,
Right,
that's the person you're actually meeting. So I've realized you build a rapport, you start talking with them, and it's really funny. Some of them say I smile a lot behind the camera.
right,
So then they start looking at me smiling, and they start smiling.
right,
It's really bizarre. I don't know what
right,
happens, but I tend to smile.
right,
And so I keep talking to them, keep talking to
right.
them, and they know, okay, now the rhythm is set in,
Got it.
you know. Yeah, and if like you said, if it's a person with certain tantrums and certain, then you just learn to stay calm, because I'm the captain of the ship there. If I can't stay calm, nobody's going to stay calm. The energy is going to, flow through everybody. So I have to learn to stay completely calm. And another thing I'd like to say is like, I don't know what it is after, and I've always felt it right from the beginning, you can feel a little bit of anxiety or a little you're planning the night before, like, oh, I have to do this, I have to do that. But the minute you walk on the set, it is just like, it's part of my body. It
Right,
just becomes a normal thing,
right,
everything just disappears,
right.
you know. Yeah.
Got it. So now it comes to a fun segment. This is a rapid fire round just to know you more personally,
Okay.
and so these are going to be just quick answers from your side. So the
Okay.
first one would be, if you were a lens, what focal length would you be?
2.8.
Okay. Most embarrassing moment on set.
Most embarrassing. Okay, it happened to me once. I accidentally bumped into a vase and it fell. I've never broken anything. That was the only time it broke.
If
And
your
it was
camera
expensive.
could talk, what would it say?
Oh my God, please don't ask it to talk. It could show you a lot of people's flaws.
Okay. What is your favorite cuisine, and what, according to you, you cook really well?
Oh, my favorite cuisine has to be Italian.
Okay.
I cook very good Indian. I cook very good Italian. I do, and I can throw things together. Yeah, I bake really well, by the way.
Photoshop or reality?
Photoshop.
Okay. Your go-to karaoke song.
Oh my God, I can't sing at all.
But
But it
I'm
would have
sure
to
you
be
would
like a
have
Guns
one
N'
some
Roses.
favorite.
It has to be like a Guns N' Roses or something like that, where I can scream and it doesn't matter if I sound screechy.
Okay. Your favorite current read, the book which you are loving to read right now.
Fourth Wing.
Okay. Most used emoji.
The laughing emoji.
Okay.
What a
If you
heart.
could time travel, which era would you photograph?
Oh, that's beautiful. That's a lovely one. Maybe the 60s or the 70s.
Okay.
Or like the 80s, the disco era. Yeah.
What is that one thing you've always wanted to do but you could not dare to do it?
I want to direct a film.
Okay. Um, your favorite genre of music, and what is that one or a particular song which it helps you unwind or de-stress?
Oh, that can really depend. I love like jazz, I love EDM, I
Okay.
love rock. Right now I'm going through this very 90s phase right now, like a
Depending on your
80s.
mood, basically, whatever you're.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
What is your go-to motto?
Oh, it's called Tina. There is no alternative.
Okay.
Tin.
And my last rapid fire would be, what is that one difference according to you between the millennials and Gen Zs of today?
Oh wow, this I could go on this one. I think they're a bit of know-it-alls, and they need a lot more experience before they start like telling people what to do,
Okay.
you know. Yeah.
Got it. Okay, so I want to ask you this question. There are a lot of young entrepreneurs, young photographers, who want to get into this trade, who needs a break, or who want, they have talent. Our country has a lot of talent, but they don't have the
Yep.
right kind of platform, to showcase their talent. So, what are the kind of attributes or a single positive message you'd like to tell them, in if they want to choose this as a career option?
I would say one, make sure your technical knowledge is really strong, because you will be thrown into many situations many times where you have to think on the spot and try and find a solution. So make sure technically you are a very sound photographer. Two, when you are going out there, make sure your portfolio really stands out. You don't need to have 100 images. Nobody has the time to look through 100 images. Put
Right.
15 of your best images there. Pick the top image, and you just have to go out there and meet as many people as you can. Try and reach out to as many people as you can. And remember, even if you hear 10 no's, the 11th one will be a yes.
Right.
Don't give up, you know, don't give up. And remember, even if you start getting work, just keep learning, because this is one field that is constantly evolving, constantly evolving.
Right.
So don't stop learning. Keep teaching yourself, and keep looking at, like, look at the work that is from the past. Look at work people are doing, and try and understand, how it is evolving. And most important is try and, have your work should stand out,
Right.
you know. Why would I give you work and not the next person?
Right.
You know, don't emulate anybody. Don't copy people.
Yeah.
Try and build your own style, and your style can evolve. It can evolve constantly. But there has to be a reason. Why would I give you work and not 10 other kids out
Right.
there? You
Right.
know,
What you said is so right. It's always, even I tell myself, when it comes to being original, you need to get your creativity side out, and your own personality. So, that is very
exactly.
important. It doesn't matter what people think, what you're comfortable in your own skin. And, I'm sure that especially in today's generation, the technology also advancing. This is another question I wanted to ask you. How is AI? How's AI affecting photography? Is it a tool or a threat, according to you? So that also.
Definitely a threat. It's definitely a threat. It's not only the threat, I think, in photography, it's a threat in many different ways today. In a political scenario, it's a threat.
Right.
But to be honest, though I'm a person that have started working with film. I started working with digital also in the early 90s.
Right.
When I was studying in England, digital had already started coming there. We used the first Nikon camera there when I was studying,
Right.
So I'm a person and I'm a person that believes in science. I'm a science student. So I taught myself how to use Midjourney and things like that 2 years
Right.
ago, because if I don't learn it, I will get left behind you know
Right.
so I know how to use all these. Today, if you ask me, I can create surreal pictures and things like that. If am I going to do it? I don't think so.
Right.
But I need to know. I need to keep learning. I need to keep updating myself so that I stay abreast with what is happening.
Okay.
So yeah, and it is going to definitely affect it till till they don't get it right how to create high resolution images. We're safe. The
Right.
minute they get that formula right,
Right.
wherein their images can be created really high and are ready for printing,
Right.
then it's really going to make a difference to our business.
Right.
I mean, you can use AI on Instagram already, and
Yeah.
people are
Yeah.
anyway
Yeah.
using
Doing it.
advertising on Instagram.
Right.
It's only the ones that want to print and use billboards. You cannot go that high. Yeah, there are softwares to
Yeah.
adjust, but not yet, you
Yeah.
know.
Okay, so that comes to the end of the episode. Tina, it was such a lovely time chatting with you, knowing about your trade and your field, and the amount of experience which you've gained over the years is truly commendable, and you're doing such great work. So, it's truly, truly a pleasure and a privilege to have this candid chat with you. Thank you so much for taking out the time. And
Thank you, Siddhant. It was lovely. It was so casual and so nice and so comfortable talking to you.
right, and I look forward to seeing you whenever I'm in the Bay. So, look forward also probably catching up for a cup of coffee.
For sure. Look
So
forward to it.
thank you once again and wishing you all the very best in all your future endeavors. Keep shining, keep smiling, and I'll see you on the other side really soon.
All right. Thank you. Thank you so much.